So, Miss FlutterRose, what can I do for you today?
Hey, Doc. Hope not bothering you, but I heard you're the best when it comes to problems. I hope not imposing. I can always come another time.
There is no need to worry, Miss FlutterRose. Tell me what's on your mind.
Well, lately I've been troubled by something for a while now, and usually I'm a pretty happy camper, don't let things bother me. In fact, I usually just brush it off like it's nothing, but this thought has literally been driving me crazy. I don't know why, but it's almost like this thought is a curse of some sort, and I can't get rid of it. I don't know what to do, and I am ashamed by it.
And what might this thought be exactly? That is, if you feel comfortable discussing this a bit further?
Okay, just promise me you won't judge.
Everything we talk about here will not leave this office. You have my word, Miss FlutterRose.
Okay, Doc, if you say so. Well, to be honest, I've always been trying to deny this thought for a while, thinking it's a phase, but lately it's been showing in real life. I've been thinking a lot about who I really am and what I really like. I've always been very confident in myself, even as a kid. I was rebellious and active and was never afraid to do anything. I'm still that way now, I'm just more mature and soft spoken. But I've always had a doubt in the back of my mind that of who I really was becoming, and I have a personality that doesn't really fit a mare. Most males are feminine and girly and afraid to get dirty, but with me, I've always been very charming and would speak my mind regardless of what it is. It never really worked out when it came to relationships. It would confuse other ponies and creatures whether I was a mare or colt, or whether I was into mares or colts. I never really noticed until now that I've always been this way. I'm still not really sure exactly what I am or what I'm becoming. I know it sounds stupid, huh?
Certainly not. I expect that many other young ponies have similar questions on their minds. May I ask why you feel that your personality simply doesn't fit a mare, as you say?
That's a good question. It all started when I was in high school. I was really into acting and performing, and would somehow manage to get interesting roles you never really would imagine a mare doing, and it would sometimes freak people out seeing a mare dressed up as a colt, acting like one and be able to talk like one, or even play multiple characters at once, even older characters. I mean, I loved it, and I love making ponies laugh. It's my way of giving back, my way of allowing people to be happy and to be free from their problems in real life. But being who I am and having the personality that I have, it's making me question who I am and who I'll be. I know I should stick to myself for who I am, but I can't seem to do it. None of my family really knows besides my sister that I'm feeling this way, and I'm afraid if I tell them the truth of my feelings that they'll leave me like ponies have done in the past, and because of these feelings, it's changing me to some pony that I never thought I'd be, and I'm scared of that pony knowing the consequences. Sorry, Doc, I'm usually not so emotional. I'm such a baby.
Hmm. Have you given much thought as to what would make you happy in the long term? Or what sort of purpose you hope to serve above anything else?
What do you mean?
I mean, what kind of ideal life are you striving towards? Or are you so worried about the present and even the unknown to give your future much thought these days?
In some way, I'm a bit of both. I know who I want to be and I know what I want to do in this life, but I'm afraid that with my personality and these thoughts will ruin my chance to be happy. But instead, it will destroy my greatest dreams and my goals that I really want to succeed in.
So, you worry that you're really not in control of your own life? That outside influences are striving to keep you from finding lasting joy?
If you put it that way, yes, it feels like it. At least it has been for the past 2 years. What should I do? How can I overcome this? Should I even tell my family or just continue to be silent to hope that these thoughts will eventually leave in time?
I'm not really sure whether I could give you a definitive answer here, Miss FlutterRose. This is a struggle you will likely have to deal with for a long time to come. Simply assuming that any one solution exists would be doing you a disservice. While your experiences may be unique in many ways, I believe that most everyone has to ask the question of whether they should pursue a dream that will make them happy or follow in the footsteps of those that came before them. Because, unfortunately, those two paths will only rarely lead in the exact same direction. In my case, I had a dream that I was striving towards for many years, an ideal life which I was certain to be my destiny. Every instinct was telling me that this was a good path to follow, a worthy goal to pursue. And yet, looking back now, I still haven't achieved that dream. To be honest, I've learned something rather difficult for me to accept. Despite the fact that I made my choice years ago, I began to understand that what I want out of life is not necessarily what life needs from me. Every time I think about what my life would be like now if I had refused to think of any other path except the dream I wanted most, I can't help but feel as though I would have lost out on so many opportunities I ended up having. I know I'm being quite vague here, but I suppose anyone who wanted to know a bit more could look into the conversation I had with my brother Tarek long ago. What I'd like to emphasize here, Miss FlutterRose, is that you're talking to a wolf who has come to accept that he doesn't always know what is best for himself. Even when his instincts keep telling him for so many years about striving towards a very different purpose. And yes, I still feel that heartache every time I am reminded of that dream. I feel as though I am denying a very crucial part of who and what I am. However, even after saying all of that, I am not here to say which path you need to follow in life, Miss FlutterRose. As I've stated, simply assuming that any one solution exists would be doing you a disservice. That being said, I do hope you will consider what life needs from you, rather than what you want out of life. It is a very difficult balancing act, to be sure. One could very easily argue that restraining one's innermost desires will rob you of passion, make the everyday empty and meaningless. But I would like to ask you a very difficult question here, Miss FlutterRose. Given all that you've seen of who I am and what I do you believe the life I live has been robbed of passion and meaning?
No. In fact, by all of you said, that one choice made you who you are now. And I agree, it may not be the struggle to accept that choice, but sometimes we make the hardest choices to make our lives better, and to allow us to grow and to see what we really are truly meant to be, even if we can't see the path we strive to accomplish. It's the present and the choices that we make now that will lead to the future that we desire to achieve. It just takes those first few steps and difficult decisions that we make may not feel as the right one at the moment, but with time and patience, it will come together, and everything will make sense. And that you and I will become the people that we always wanted to be, even with our struggles, because our weaknesses make us stronger and better than we ever thought we could be. Doc, have you ever wondered what it's like to be someone you're not? Just out of curiosity, of course, but what if you weren't a doctor?
I think most everyone in the world wonders what it would be like to live someone else's life. And in some cases, they just can't seem to accept who they've become, always feeling that they have no choice but to deny a part of themselves. I'm sure I've mentioned to many people before that I'm actually an accountant in real life. Never thought that kind of career would give me joy, and to be honest, it always has been mentally and emotionally draining. But it gave me a very good purpose, and even opened up many other opportunities I wouldn't have had otherwise. And even choosing to become Dr. Wolf for this series was never something I thought would happen until, surprise, it did. But both of those pursuits would not have been possible if I hadn't restrained a few of my deeper desires and instincts. Even that single ultimate goal I strived towards for so many years. That dream which to this day still leaves a hole in my heart and an ache in my very soul. I suppose the conclusion I'm trying to reach here is that we don't always know what is best for ourselves. I'm not trying to condone a life that simply follows what everyone tells you, but I would caution against a life where you make all of your own desires and instincts the top priority. Then again, I can't know for sure what you can and cannot handle, Miss FlutterRose. Simply assuming that denying your single greatest desire in life wouldn't overwhelm you with stress and heartache would be very foolish on my part. It just isn't right for me to assume you could handle that kind of struggle in the long term. I know firsthand just how much it can hurt. But at the very least, I am glad that you are willing to talk about this, Miss FlutterRose. It simply isn't healthy to bottle up these stressful feelings all the time, even in my case. So, would you be willing to talk about this some more? Whether that be with me or your closest friends or perhaps even your family?
To be quite frank, I would like to talk about this more, and maybe be able to talk about more may help me overcome it, once I open up more to my feelings and deepest thoughts. It may not ever go away, but I won't let it control my life and me, because I know who I am, and I know what decisions I want to go to and who I can be. I would love to have another conversation with you sometime, to discuss further more on the subject. It may help, and I hope that you can come to me too if you feel troubled, because even the doctor needs help.
Yes, I know. And I do talk about it with my family, so you needn't worry. I look forward to our next visit, Miss FlutterRose. Take care, and have hope.
You too. Oh, and before I go, this always makes me feel better when I'm down. Here, have a cookie. And Doc, thanks.
It's good to be helping.